Welcome to this explainer. Okay, we are officially kicking off our machine learning core block by starting right at the bedrock, scikit-learn. If you spend any time in data, you know this is the foundational library that defines how machine learning is done in Python. By the end of our time today, you are going to master its unified workflow. That's the blueprint that nearly every other ML library builds upon.
Here's our roadmap for today. We'll meet scikit-learn, break down the three main machine learning categories, walk through the core four-step workflow, and then cover preparing and evaluating models, pipelines, and cross-validation, and finally wrap up with some essential best practices. Let's just dive right in.
Section 1. Meet scikit-learn, the unified interface. So, to really grasp why scikit-learn completely dominates the Python ecosystem, we've got to look at how it actually connects to your data. Everything you've learned up to this point about handling NumPy arrays and tweaking pandas data frames, well, it feeds directly into this library. Scikit-learn expects your input data to look exactly like those arrays, which means data cleaning isn't just some separate annoying chore, it is literally the essential first step of machine learning. You just can't build a smart model on messy data, right?
Moving on to Section 2, three machine learning categories. To use this library effectively, we need to set up a mental filing cabinet for the kinds of problems it can actually solve. First up in that cabinet, classification. Here, your goal is to predict a specific category or label. Think of distinct groups or binary outcomes. Like you want to automatically identify if an incoming email is spam, or maybe predict whether a user is about to cancel their subscription or stay loyal. Next up, we have regression. You're going to pull this one out when you need to predict a continuous numerical value instead of a category. Real-world examples would be forecasting a house's exact sale price down to the dollar based on its square footage, or maybe predicting your company's total revenue for the upcoming quarter. And finally, there's clustering. Now, this one is a bit of a wild card because it's unsupervised. It's all about automatically grouping similar data points based purely on hidden underlying patterns. And the kicker? You don't provide any predefined labels at all. A really classic use case here is customer segmentation, essentially letting the math discover distinct groups within your user base just by looking at their behavior. All right, Section 3, the core four-step workflow. This workflow right here is the absolute center of this explainer. And honestly, it's the secret sauce behind scikit-learn's massive popularity. Every single algorithm in this entire library follows an identical four-step pattern. Step 1, you import the specific model class. Step 2, you instantiate that model, which is basically creating an empty, untrained brain. Step 3, you train that brain on your actual data using the fit method. And step 4, you use the predict method to make predictions on brand new data. Because this process is so unified, upgrading from a super basic algorithm to a highly complex one usually means you only have to change a single line of code. It's amazing. To really bring this to life, let's look at a few specific algorithms you'll actually be using with that exact fit and predict mantra. You've got linear regression for simple, really interpretable continuous predictions. Then there's logistic regression. And hey, don't let the name fool you. It's actually used for classification, figuring out the probability that a data point belongs to a certain category. If you need really robust performance, we rely on ensemble methods like random forest, which literally combines a bunch of decision trees. And for clustering, you've got the super popular k-means. Now, despite their massive mathematical differences under the hood, every single one of these is executed using those exact same four steps. Which brings us to Section 4, preparing and evaluating models. Okay, stepping out of a perfect theoretical world and into reality, we really have to prepare our data properly before we ever even think about hitting that fit button. Using scikit-learn's train test split function, we take our data and chop it into a training set to teach the model and a strictly held out testing set. Why go through the trouble? Because grading a model on the exact same data it just memorized is going to give you a falsely optimistic score. It's like giving a student the answer key before the test. You absolutely need genuinely unseen data to know how your model will actually survive in the wild. On top of that, most algorithms fundamentally require numerical input, and they strongly prefer those inputs to be on a similar scale. That's where standardizer comes in. It transforms your numerical data so each feature has a mean of 0 and a standard deviation of 1. Meanwhile, one-hot encoder takes categorical text, like, say, a column full of city names, and mathematically translates it into a numerical format that the algorithms can actually compute. So the really crucial question becomes this. Once your data is split,
perfectly scaled, encoded, and your model is finally making predictions, how do we actually know if those predictions are any good? Because just spitting out a prediction isn't enough. We need to measure its success.
Well, scikit-learn's metrics module has the answers. For classification problems, we often look at accuracy, literally just the percentage of correct predictions. For regression, we use metrics like mean squared error, which measures the average size of your prediction misses. Now, a quick heads up here. An impressive accuracy score can actually be a really dangerous illusion if you're dealing with heavily imbalanced data. But don't worry, that's a fascinating trap we will explore much deeper when we cover the imbalanced learn package later on in this block.
Let's move to Section 5, Pipelines and Cross-Validation.
To start building truly professional-grade models, we have to talk about pipelines. A pipeline lets you chain all your pre-processing steps together with your final model into one single unified object. This does keep your code super clean, but honestly, more importantly, it prevents a lethal trap called data leakage. Data leakage is what happens when information from your test set accidentally bleeds over into your training process, completely artificially inflating your results. Pipelines are your absolute best friend here. They make sure your testing data remains strictly under lock and key.
And when it comes to evaluation, we can actually do even better than a single split. Look, a single train test split is incredibly fast, but it can be really lucky or really unlucky depending on exactly how the data was shuffled. Instead, the cross-validation score function systematically evaluates your model across multiple different segments of your data. It basically trains and tests repeatedly on different slices, giving you a rigorous, totally battle-tested estimate of how your model is truly performing.
But what about tuning the model itself? Most algorithms have configuration settings that you have to choose before the training even begins. These are known as hyperparameters, like exactly how many trees should we plant in our random forest. Instead of just guessing, grid search systematically automates the testing of tons of different combinations using cross-validation. It relentlessly grids through the options to find the absolute best performing configuration so you don't have to sit there doing it manually. And this exact concept connects directly to Optuna, which is an insanely powerful tuning package we're going to cover very soon.
All right, wrapping things up with Section 6, Essential Best Practices.
Let's cement the habits you really need right now. Consider these your golden rules for literally every machine learning project moving forward. Always split your data before you build anything. Never, ever evaluate your final model's performance on the exact same data you used to train it. Rely on pipelines to keep everything totally isolated and avoid data leakage. And finally, make cross-validation your default for total honesty in your performance estimates.
Now, what is truly incredible about learning all of this today is that this foundation just keeps on applying. Even when we eventually move on to external, highly optimized, competition-winning packages like XGBoost, LightGBM, and CatBoost, they are all specifically designed to plug directly into this exact same scikit-learn fit and predict puzzle. You didn't just learn a library today, you literally learned the universal language of Python machine learning.
Which leads us to a final thought. You've now mastered the foundational workflow. You know exactly how to split, scale, fit, and predict safely. But as we prepare to tackle one of the most dominant algorithms in the world in our next explainer, I want you to ask yourself, how exactly will this simple, beautifully structured pipeline handle the raw, uncompromising power of XGBoost? Keep that in the back of your mind, and I will see you next time.